Well, the Greta Thunberg Freedom Flotilla has been intercepted by Israeli forces. Everybody on board was arrested, and Israel says that they are bringing that, they're going to be shipping them off to their home countries. So this was a group of humanitarian workers. Also, Greta Thunberg was on there, and they were trying to bring aid to Gaza. They were sailing in international waters. They were never going to be entering Israeli water space. I don't know what is maritime. I'm not really sure what that's called. It's not airspace. But they were never going to be sailing in Israel-controlled waters. They were only going to stay in international waters and then enter what would have been Gaza's waters, area that should be controlled by Gaza. But, of course, Israel claims that they don't control Gaza, that Gaza's self-reliant and able to control its own borders and everything. And meanwhile, Israel intercepts and controls the aid as these humanitarians tried to make their way into Gaza. I'm going to show you this is kind of jarring to hear because there's sirens going off, but this is when the flotilla was actually being raided by the Israelis. It was being intercepted by the Israelis. The humanitarian workers are panicking a little bit. You could tell because you never know what Israel's going to do. You don't know if you're going to be alive or dead by the end of this, but just watch this. This is them being intercepted.
They are intercepting our boats right now. Please stay alert. We have no weapons. We are no threat. We carry only humanitarian aid. We are 12 people on board. There are ships surrounding us right now. So please make sure to be loud. We again impose no threat. We have no weapons. We carry only humanitarian aid to a starving population. 2 million people. Lift the siege, end the blockade, stop the genocide now, so that we don't have to do this. Demand your governments do this so that we don't have to do this.
My name is Greta Thunberg and I am from Sweden. If you see this video, we have been intercepted and kidnapped in international waters by the Israeli occupational forces or forces that support Israel. I urge all my friends, family and comrades to put pressure on the Swedish government to release me and the others as soon as possible.
So the Israelis, whoever's controlling their social media must hate themselves because they have posted a series of tweets saying that they have intercepted what are they calling this? They're calling this the selfie yacht, I think is what they're saying. The series of messages they put out since they've intercepted this humanitarian flotilla that was trying to deliver aid to starving Palestinians in Gaza. They are just making it to where people really do not like them more than they already do not like them. But here's what Israel, this is their official account, and this is what they wrote out. Good morning to all of our followers. In case you missed it, the selfie yacht is safely making its way to the shores of Israel. The passengers are safe and were provided with sandwiches and water and are expected to return to their home countries. The tiny amount of aid that wasn't consumed by the celebrities will be transferred to Gaza through real humanitarian channels. More than 1,200 aid trucks have entered Gaza from Israel within the past 2 weeks, and close to 11 million meals were transferred by the GHF directly to civilians in Gaza, which, by the way, prior to the blockade, the amount of aid that was going in was, 1,200 aid trucks, they say, had been entered within the past 2 weeks. And what normally was entering was several hundred, like 300 to 400 per day. And they were bragging that 1,200 aid trucks had gone in over the course of 14 days, when normally that number of trucks would have gone in within the course of 3 or 4 days. So here they are bragging about stopping humanitarian aid to starving Palestinians who they have been starving and blocking from any and all aid. And even though it was a small amount of aid that Greta and friends were bringing into Gaza, it was still some aid for some people that would have helped somebody. Maybe if one child got to eat that food and didn't die of starvation, that would have been better. But meanwhile, the Israelis sit there and brag about stopping a humanitarian boat with no weapons on board, no Hamas on board, filled with humanitarian workers, a French parliament member, Greta Thunberg, all these, and they're bragging about this and saying, well, we gave them some sandwiches. This is them handing them water and sandwiches, which is, I don't even know if these aid workers even ate this, to be honest. I doubt they did. You could see some of them shaking their heads, just being like, no, we're not going to eat that, because here we are trying to deliver food to actual starving people, and then you're giving us sandwiches so that you could take pictures of us eating sandwiches while we're here trying to deliver aid to people you're starving. Why don't you hand these sandwiches out to the Palestinians, Israelis, if you're so kind and concerned about, here you are saying, oh, look at how kind and concerned we are about these humanitarian workers. We're giving them water and sandwiches. How about you give the water and sandwiches to the Palestinians you're starving? That's what we all want to see. We don't want to see this. We don't want to see you intercepting boats, bragging about it on social media, and handing out water and sandwiches to people who are not starving. We want you to hand that out to the people who are starving, the people you're starving. They go on to say more things here. This is the Israel Foreign Ministry saying the selfie yacht of the celebrities is safely making its way to the shores of Israel. The passengers are expected to return to their home countries, while Greta and others attempted to stage a media provocation whose sole purpose was to gain publicity, and which included less than a single truckload of aid. More than 1,200 aid trucks have entered Gaza from Israel within the past 2 weeks. And in addition, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which is now we know a Mossad op, essentially, and they have shut down aid, saying that they have distributed close to 11 million meals directly to civilians in Gaza. There are ways to, 11 million meals, 2 million people. How many meals a day do you eat? Right, you eat maybe, let's say, if you're in a starving situation, one meal for 2 million people, and they did 11 of those 11 million meals, and they've blockaded the place since March. So if you ate 1 meal a day, and there's 2 million people, even if you ate 1 meal every couple of days and there's 2 million people, how far does 11 million meals go? Right, 5 days. 5 days worth of food for the 2 million people. 5 days worth of food since March, since the beginning of March. So you got 5 meals potentially from Israel, and they're bragging about this. 5 meals they've delivered in the last 3 months. You ate 5 meals in 3 months. You are starving. You are starving if you eat 5 meals in 3 months. But that's Israel totally bragging about it. They've also done this. Here's Greta Thunberg, currently on her way to Israel, safe and in good spirits. They make her take this picture. They capture this picture and they put this picture there, like, there she is, happy to accept a sandwich and water. And she's sitting there like, yeah, no, thanks, but no thanks. Just unbelievable. Then here they are again, passing them the water, saying they're the selfie yacht, safe and unharmed, provided with sandwiches and water. Show is over, they said. No, the show is not over. I mean, whoever's running their social media account, but it's not just whoever's running it. This has been their personality, the way they've been from the beginning of this war. Since October 7th, we've seen this lack of care, concern, just evil. It just feels evil the way that they're approaching everything. And you couldn't even write this. I mean, they make the best villain for a movie. It's like you couldn't even create a better villain. I mean, the way that they've behaved and the things that they've said. Here's the president of Israel saying, I congratulate the IDF for their quick and safe takeover of the Magdalene Flotilla to prevent them from breaking the blockade and reaching the shores of Gaza. So there he is congratulating the IDF, stopping food, going to no weapons, not Hamas, stopping food from reaching the shores of Gaza, saying, there they are, they would be breaking the blockade. Our blockade, what does he mean by the blockade? Them starving the Palestinians. That's what he's talking about, very specifically. We're starving the Palestinians, and they were going to try to break the blockade of us starving the Palestinians. And thank you for stopping it, IDF, is what he says. I instructed the IDF to show the flotilla passengers the video of the horrors of the October 7th massacre when they arrive at the port of Ashdod. It's appropriate that the anti-Semitic Greta and her fellow Hamas supporters see exactly who the Hamas terrorist organization they came to support and for whom they work is. So they're trying to give food to children, and this is what the president is saying. It's like they're all Hamas. The IDF will continue its war against the Hamas murderers with all its moral righteousness until they are subdued, all the hostages are released, and the security of the state of Israel is ensured. I mean, these are just Nazis. I mean, it doesn't get any worse than this. Here's French people out there protesting. One of the members of the flotilla who's been arrested is a French parliament member. Rima Hassan, and they are out there protesting. So, I mean, this is them, by the way, when they were being arrested, they had to put their hands in the air. These are, no Hamas on board, only food on board. That's all they have. These are humanitarian aid workers trying to get to the shores to deliver aid, and this is how the Israelis have treated them. Hands in the air, you're all being arrested. How dare you try to deliver food to children? That is just, you are a supporter of Hamas if you do that. I mean, this is where we're at with this. I mean, this is just absolutely insane that this should be outraging everybody in the international world. I'm happy to see that there have been some acts of resistance by the people because the governments aren't doing anything. The governments are just continuing to fund the genocide that the obviously Nazi Israeli regime is committing. And people are starting to resist. There have been dock workers in France, dock workers in Italy, who refuse to load up ammunition on its way to Israel. The people are starting to resist. You have this flotilla. This is a group of people trying to resist the Israeli blockade. People are rising up and starting to resist. And that is what, when we study World War II and we talk about World War II and we're like, what happened there? How did that get out of control? Why didn't the people do anything? And we talk about the few acts of resistance that happened, and those very few acts of resistance, we say, why wasn't there more of that? And that is the question we should be asking ourselves right now. Why isn't there more acts of resistance against what all of our governments are doing, helping the Israelis commit a genocide, blockading an entire population of people from food and water since the beginning of March, delivering 11 million meals, 5 days, that's 1 meal a day, 5 times since the beginning of March. That's what that 11 million meals is. And they brag about that, like, oh, that number sounds really big. So, you should just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it until you start doing the math. They think you can't do math because they think you're stupid. That's what they think. Our governments think we're stupid, or they're completely bought off and blinded. And what is it going to take for the people to just resist this insanity, resist this genocide, resist history? We're watching history happen in front of our eyes. And it's just absolutely unreal. So, suddenly a lot of people who didn't like Greta are now cheering for Greta. A lot of people who didn't like Greta are thinking this chick has got, nads of steel trying to show up to the Gaza border. How many of you would have done that? And there she is sailing away saying, you know what, the Israelis might kill me. And that is a legitimate concern. That's not just a selfie celebrity yacht like the Israelis are saying. These people actually put their lives on the line because we don't know what the Israelis would do. Would they blow it up? They blew up the last one. Would they blow this one up? Maybe. We just don't know. But now we do. We wondered what the outcome would be. Now we know they arrested them. They tried to pretend like it was some sort of a selfie celebrity for publicity, sort of stunt, when in reality, I think many of us wanted to see this boat make it to shore and aid, and we wanted to see children fed. That's what we wanted to see. And we want to see more of this aid get into Palestine and feeding the people who are just fighting for their right to exist. That is what has happened. And the Israelis turned one day into a massacre that has now lasted over a year and a half at this point. We're going into 2 years. Soon enough, it will be 2 years of this. And it's just the Israelis. I didn't think they could be less liked any more than they already are. And then they put out this series of tweets, and it was just like, oh yeah, okay, I was wrong. You can still be liked even less, I suppose. Thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iversen Show, which you can catch Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. We do live stream it every day. It's a 1-hour show. You can catch it. It is totally free. Just go to KimIversonShow.com. See you there.